Yeah, at what so at what point does Maduro do that thing like a Home Alone where he just takes marbles and then like he throws the marbles so that the Delta Force is tripping and they're like flipping up all over? No. All right, Dave Blaze. It seems like the new year has creeped upon us. But like, where did last month go? It was like a month of vacations, or what's going on here?
Pretty much. Look, we had Thanksgiving where everybody's off. Then you have a week. The first 2 weeks of December are like, they're like bye weeks in the NFL. So you have Thanksgiving, you have a week and a half, and then we had Christmas on a Thursday, New Year's on a Thursday, and here we are. So it's like the whole month of December was just like, we worked.
I know. Well, the thing is, I said this every time. Anytime you have a Christmas on a Wednesday or Thursday, it's like 2 weeks worth of frozen. Because what are you going to do the week before? And you're planning stuff, and people are planning stuff the weekend. You're going to come back on a Friday to work. Come on. So anyway, it's
we launched the Dispatch.
Yes.
During that time, we started our 5-day-a-week live show that talks about the dispatch of the day. Well, and frankly, there's so much happening. There's so much happening.
This show, the film show, will continue. I just want to show you one clip that we're sharing on the Dispatch. By the way, the live show Monday through Friday at 5:00 Eastern Standard Time. We are live on YouTube and Facebook, but you got to check us out on YouTube just because we're trying to grow that. Anyway, Dave, check out this video that we are showing on the live broadcast. It's only about not even a minute. Here we go.
While dozens of attack helicopters laid down suppression fire, the Delta Special Forces descended and started the search for the high-value targets. How did they find him? Simple. The CIA had planted spy inside Nicolas Maduro close circle. While back in the US, Delta Force built an exact replica of his safe house, rehearsing the raid until they could do it blindfolded. While operators breached the room so fast, his security could not even react to the situation as the sound of flash grenades disoriented the security guard. Using blowtorch, they caught him before he could even lock all the doors. Maduro's shock and awe froze him as Delta Force reached the compound. Nicolas Maduro and his wife, Celia Flores, were physically secured. This wasn't a negotiation. They were detained and immediately moved to the extraction point.
Oh,
There's so much in that to unpack.
I know. I know there's so much. If I could just bring one point out there, this whole thing that I believe it was in Fort Bragg, they built a life-size mansion. How they did that and how it didn't get leaked that they were doing this.
That's the key. That's the key, because think about this. They must have had probably an airplane hangar or some giant building where they could, within that building, put another building, right? And then only certain individuals were allowed in the building. No one talked about what was going on, the construction or anything else. There were no leaks and so on. This is why we have to continually remind the people that follow us and watch us. These guys on social media that keep talking about my high-level military source, they don't have that.
Right. This showed when people, and you have never heard us say this word, intel. Okay, Gene Ho here. We got the latest intel for you. Do you realize the monumental task and the praise that with this Delta Force, how they did this in Fort Bragg, and no one's even like, oh, that's like Area 41 or 51. Like what's in there? Like nobody talked about it. It's a real life-size palace that they could practice raiding blindfolded in it. So like they're counting steps up. They're counting left turn here is like a football thing where they're doing it. It's amazing.
They rehearsed it so much so that they could maneuver around his house blindfolded.
Yes, you know what? Yeah, at what point does Maduro do that thing like like a Home Alone where he just takes marbles and then like he throws the marbles so that the Delta Force is tripping and they're like flipping up all over. No, just you would think that they would have the marbles.
I understand what you're saying, but they had the they had the super powerful, like President Trump said, they brought in the super powerful blow torches and so on, but he was never able to actually lock and secure the door because they were our guys were on him so fast that he couldn't secure
it's like a football blitz, really. Like
yeah.
they're blitzing them. The other thing, really quick, and we'll get into more things here, is the fact that there was a CIA that infiltrated them, and we're always talking about how evil the CIA is. This is the CIA run by Ratcliffe, which is an appointee now from Donald Trump. They got the information, so much so that they could map out how many steps. I mean, they're doing it blindfold. So you had one person in there counting steps up the levels and stuff like that.
Right. And we have people, these influencers on social media that are saying that, Venezuela's a CIA hub and this is a CIA hub. These people they don't have any idea of what they're talking about. They have no knowledge of what they're talking about.
The other thing that was said by Secretary Rubio, and we're going to show a clip from what I just became to love this man, this Rubio. But he says that this administration is very open. So a lot of the information you could get is like from him. It's from the administration. Right. So what that does for the intel crowd is that there's no secrets with it. They're saying what's going on. In fact, later on in the live event, I won't show it here, 2 weeks ago, Rubio was saying exactly the same thing as he says now about how there were deals made with Maduro that he rejected. Yeah, they're all saying it. It's out there. What our job is, and what other influencers, so to speak, I hate to use that word for us, it should be doing is like saying, is describing what's going on and not saying, well, I know what's going on. Because if you did, right, if you did know what was going on, then you would be privy to this Maduro building that they were practicing in.
Right.
You would know about it. Okay. Right. Really quick, let's do this first video because I just love this video here with Marco Rubio. Anyway, check this one out.
Okay.
Basically likes to play games all this time and thinks nothing's going to happen. And I hope what people now understand is that we have a president. The 47th president of the United States is not a game player. When he tells you that he's going to do something, when tells you he's going to address a problem, he means it. He actions it. I can tell you, I've watched this process now for 14, 15 years, been around it. Everybody talks. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. When I get there, we're going to do this. We're going to take. This is a president of action.
Big difference.
I love that. And I think that whereas some have said with Donald Trump, okay, well, what does he really mean by that? What does he really mean by that? Along the way, Donald Trump has been very open and he tells you basically how it is.
Right.
What's going to happen. It's remarkable with that. Anyway, Dave, your thoughts on Rubio. We are very proud of Delta Force, our armed services and everything, because if this went sour, if this was a botched extraction or a prolonged extraction, it would not be good. What's your thoughts, Dave Blaze, on where this would have happened?
Well, a couple of things. Number one, exactly what Marco Rubio said. President Trump is a president of action. If he's going to do something, he does it. There's no like. Also, he's not the type of president that tells you what he's not going to do. Well, we're not going to do that, and we're not going to go over here, and we're not going to try and interfere in this, and we're not going to do that. He does none of that. All right. There's a lot of talk going on right now about the Monroe Doctrine, and they're nicknaming it the Donroe Doctrine. I know, Gene, you just did a show on that, which is up on American Pulse TV, by the way. All right. So let's explain to the folks what the Monroe Doctrine actually is, because I think a lot of people just they hear it, oh yeah, the Monroe, but they really don't know what the Monroe Doctrine is and was.
Right. It's in a nutshell, is if you could imagine the Western Hemisphere, which is us, Canada, Latin America, and all that side. If you can imagine that as a gigantic playground, and United States as one of the children of that playground, but we're the big kids on the block. We're just like, hey, we're not going to let the other children from the other school play in our playground, and that's what we have going on here.
Well, yeah, okay, all right. Imagine it like you live in your house. You're in a neighborhood, right? You're in a neighborhood, whatever, and your neighbors begin to not have to rent space from people on the other side of the street, right? So they begin to build their own homes. And so they're building up their own homes. But what happens is the people on the other side of the street want to now come in to your side of the street and take over your neighbor's new homes, right? Because that's what was going on. In other words, like you had Mexico and the South American countries and so on. And they were all under, let's say, some kind of European or whatever rule. And then once those countries kicked them out and they started to rebuild, the European nations wanted to come back and take them back over. So the Monroe Doctrine was basically like James Monroe would go out on his porch and go, hey, you guys get out of here and go back over to your side of the street and leave my neighbors alone.
Yeah, and the difference now with the Monroe Doctrine here is what we see. Right. Is you finally have a president, not to say that, I mean, there's other presidents that have, shared that same thought, but now you have a president that's actually going to do it,
right?
And actually has done it.
So think about the pressure that Russia put on Venezuela, not only monetarily because they bought up a lot of their future oil reserves, and China did the same thing. But Russia, working closely with Cuba, was exerting a lot of pressure on Venezuela to do various things and so forth and so on. So Russia and China and so on, and Iran, what in the world, very much involved in the affairs of Venezuela.
Right.
Basically, we just kicked them out.
And not General MAGA with this, but especially the people that are in the know, people in government, you know how this works.
Yes.
You know that you are feeding into this, well, it's supposed to be America first. Why are we involved in this?
Right.
You realize this is America first.
That's right.
Because if it isn't, why don't you just let everyone put nuclear missiles in Venezuela while we're at it? Oh, but we don't want to be involved. It's America first. Yeah, it's America first until they are. Trump said it. Rubio said it. They were putting weapons. He even said some of them they used right there in our backyard, and that's why it's necessary for Trump to do this.
Right. Now think about this for a second. Two things. There's two things for our watchers and our viewers to consider. Number one, Russia, China, Europe, Iran, England, whatever other nation that you think is powerful, they are not on our level. The United States is here. These other countries are all swimming around, vying for second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth place. They are not on our level. They're not. What they have tried to do over the last 70 years is convince the American people that they are above us, or that their way of thinking is better than American society. And to a large part,
right. We got a quick commercial break to go to here, but along with that, that is why what has just happened, if you think about it, that the United States, through the military and Delta Force, just went into a sovereign country, removed their president, and brought him to New York. I mean, that in itself is amazing.
Right, right. But the thing is these other nations have tried to convince the American people that they are on our level, that they could be world super. They're not even close. That's why, like what Gene just said, when we needed to take out this guy, bring him to justice, bring him back to face the charges that he was indicted for since 2011. This guy was indicted, and nothing has been done with him. Now he's in custody. Now he'll be dealt with.
All right. Thank you so much. Stick around. When we come back, we're going to talk about what this armada outside of Venezuela that Trump put there. Trump's going to tell you himself. Anyway, stick around. American Pulse Podcast is coming back. It was my mom that taught me all about the stock market, about mutual funds, individual stocks, what to look for. All of this stuff I learned and passed it on to my children. But here's the thing, when it comes to cryptocurrency, what am I going to do? Take advice from my children? So that's why George Magazine came up with the Complete Crypto Playbook, a simple way with all of these topics to help you understand all the nuances of the cryptocurrency. So simple that you could even explain it to others. So here's the thing, understand the difference between a hot wallet and a cold wallet. What about all these different coins? All of these things come into play in an easy to read and comprehensive playbook when it comes to crypto. So check it out. Go to georgemagazine.com and buy and download your crypto playbook today. Welcome back, everyone, to American Pulse Podcast. Really quick, if you haven't already, go to georgemagazine.com. You go there, and if you haven't, you'll see a pop-up there, and it'll give you a link that if you put your email in there, that you get the dispatch every morning, Monday through Friday. You get an email by like 9:15 Eastern Standard Time of the day's leading stories, so you know what to watch out for. And then later on in the day at 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, you can see us on YouTube and on Facebook Live as we go over some of these stories and what to look for. Anyway, make sure you do that. And by the way, Dave, this program has been very good. People have been looking forward to the dispatch.
Oh yeah, no, they look forward to the dispatch. So now we're down there, and the left wants to immediately trivialize everything. Oh, it's just about the oil, right? So they could put a label on it. All right, this is just my opinion on it. So what? All right, it's about the oil. 80% of the oil that is pumped out of Venezuela today is bought by China. Okay, very few people know this. So guess what happens? Now we are going to be in charge. We're taking that oil. We are going to be in charge of the oil. We are going to refine it. We are going to put that oil onto the market. And now all of a sudden, the trade deficit that we have with China, what trade deficit? Now they're buying oil from us.
Right. And again, the way it all plays out, don't forget that Trump has a plan, which is already with executive order, sovereign wealth fund, right? So this goes into, right. It goes into where the Ways and Means Committee and the Senate Finance Committee will decide what happens to that money. If they are Republicans and, they're a puppet or whatever. If they are working with Donald Trump, Trump says, hey, you know what? I would really love some of this money to go back to the American people now. Now, he could guide them with what it is. But once you have the midterms, and then if the Senate, the House especially, goes back to the Democrats, their new Ways and Means Committee, which they control, they're going to be like, nah, we'll use it for something else. We'll use it for social programs, whatever. Anyway, it's very interesting.
Also, think about the oil that we import, right? We import a lot of oil from Canada. We'll really need that. So I don't know what the Canadians are going to do. And if we take that Venezuelan oil, get it up to full speed, like the boys at Exxon and Chevron and the rest of them who built that infrastructure in Venezuela are planning on doing, and that oil starts hitting the market, all of a sudden oil is $40 to $50 a barrel as opposed to $80 a barrel, right? Gasoline will be between $1 and $1.50 a gallon. Wouldn't that be nice?
Right.
Nobody
And so,
grasps the extended benefits to the American people.
and one of the things we put on the dispatch is what Kamala Harris was totally against it, because what is going on is this was such a big victory for Donald Trump,
Right.
that they need to figure out a way to put a negative spin on it.
That's right.
So anyone that's putting a negative spin on it, even in MAGA Nation, you just wonder, okay, really, do you want America to fail? You want Trump to fail in this? And that's what's going on. And it goes back, we're going to talk about it, to the midterms. Dave, there's one other thing that was said by Trump during this, and what Trump said falls into line what we did on this show, the show we called the new Cuban Missile Crisis. Because before all of this has happened, we here on our show says, hey, Trump is playing like Gretzky with hockey. He's playing where the puck is going to be. Now, with the Cuban Missile Crisis, the missiles were coming in, and then Kennedy had to say, okay, well, how are we going to stop this? Trump saw this coming, so he put his ship there right away, and we saw all this stuff. Anyway, Dave, check out this video here, and the key words is the Armada and why they were there. Okay, here we go.
The American Armada remains poised in position, and the United States retains all military options until United States demands have been fully met and fully satisfied. All political and military figures in Venezuela should understand what happened to Maduro can happen to them, and it will happen to them if they aren't just fair, even to their people.
Okay, Dave Blaze, any comment on that? Because talked about the Armada.
Well, that's why you had the woman that was Delcy, whatever her name is, that was sworn in as the new president of Venezuela, who was Maduro's vice president. Initially, she was, quote unquote, thumbing her nose at the United States, right? Until she was given a full understanding of what her options are. Now she's fully cooperative because she doesn't want to be in a jail cell somewhere.
Now, with this thing, with this Armada, and then going back to it, remember about 2 months ago, or maybe a little bit less than 2 months ago, where the Rubio and the Secretary of War and Raising Cane went to the Gang of Eight in Congress, which is the top level security, and they met with them. After that, if you know, they stopped talking about blowing up drug things or whatever. I don't know, right? Because it's only the Gang of Eight knows, and them. They probably said to them, listen, let us do this because we are about to go into Venezuela. We're already building this thing in Fort Bragg, and we're going to take them out. And the ships need to be there in part also so that they can make a quick trip over to Venezuela. But all of this is going on, and notice, again, where was the intel from the MAGA crowd telling you what's going on? This all goes behind the scenes to the Gang of Eight, which is elected from Congress to know these things, General Raising Cane, and it's all there, but they're not telling you. They're not telling you what's happening next. And then all of a sudden you wake up one day and then they have the president taken away.
And then the MAGA influencer crowd want to get you off onto a back alley somewhere. Oh, this is all about the 2020 election. This is all about, Maduro's working with Trump. Oh, and get you like off on some wackadoo roads. Don't buy into it. It's very straightforward. Very straightforward. You had the Democrats for years saying that Trump is enamored with these dictators and these tough guys and so on, like Maduro. But meanwhile, Obama did nothing. H.W. Bush did nothing well about Chavez. You had Biden didn't do anything about him. But it was Trump, the guy that was allegedly, according to the Democrats, in love with Maduro. He's the guy that went in and got Maduro.
Right. And another thing is, if you follow us on Facebook, Dave Blaze put a post out the other day because no one was saying it. Why is he being tried in New York? Well, First of all, by the way, That's where the indictment came out of, the Southern District, because number one, two, that you brought out, it has to do also with money laundering,
Yes.
because all this drug money goes into it. And I saw this the other day that said something like, and they tried to point it that the banks were bad. That's how you launder money. You realize that. They put it into legitimate businesses and they funnel it through the bank.
Right.
All money laundering is through the banks. All of it. How else are you supposed to launder it?
Right.
You have to have, it goes into what supposedly is a legit business.
Right.
And then they say it and then they pay taxes
Could even be
off.
a charity. Could even be a charity. That's why you got to look at some of these charities. It could be charities getting donations, getting small donations. Look, there are ways now with software and so forth to make it look like you're getting grassroots donations, $25 at a time. You get a ton of them. But that's what happens. And all of a sudden it goes into these charities. The charities on the surface are very clean. And then they launder the money that way.
That is right. That is the purpose of laundering. That it goes through a real bank so that they could spend it. But I'm just saying that online they make it sound like, oh, which is true. Again, it's true. Like they said something like 85% of the money gets laundered through the banks. Of course it is. How else are you supposed to launder it? Do you understand? Not you, but you guys understand that that's how you do it. The drug money goes into a shell company that's supposedly in a legit business, and it looks like, I mean, am I the only one that watched Breaking Bad with the car wash there? I'm not saying it. It's just like that's how they do it.
Right. No, what the point of those kind of postings on social media are to give you, it's like a gaslighting. It's like, oh, see, they're doing all the money laundering through those banks. Well, of course, that's like saying, you see, I look up and that sky is blue. What are we going to do about it? The sky is blue.
Okay. So, listen, this is for America. This is what we needed, because this is what, you have all these people saying, this is not what I voted for. Yeah, this is what you voted for. You voted for a president that had the gumption to go else and do this. Correct. And quite frankly, Dave, if I'm telling you, if it failed for any reason, right? Now, you have to remember, no lives lost, no equipment lost.
Right.
None. I should say no American lives lost, excuse me, because I don't know. But with this, if it was a failure on any level, my goodness, what would they have done to Trump going into that? It would have been like, oh, yeah. So
that's why the president made such a big deal talking about General Kane, right? Because he's worked with other generals and they've turned out to be idiots or agenda-driven idiots. Kane knows how to get the job done. And that's why he's the chief of staff, frankly.
Right. You have to understand that the structure that America has, people have been trying to break it down. They say, just break it all down. This is how it works. The Joint Chief of Staff with him as the head of it, and it's structured. You have Pete Hegseth, and everything is in order. The place you have in Congress, the Gang of Eight that gets intel, and here's another one is like, oh, look at all these people, and I don't know, but look at all these people on Congress that's on the take of dirty money. Makes it sound like you have no confidence at all in anything of the United States.
Right.
But
now who would love for you to believe that? Certainly not our government. Certainly not anything that affects you directly. But foreign entities would love for you to believe that. They would love for you to not trust the government or any agency within the United States.
Right. And that's what we, really quick, and then we got to go. But that's why we said, look at how this was accomplished. There were CIA agents on the ground in Venezuela, right? They reported back. They put it into the intel into Fort Bragg to say, this is how you need to make the inside of this place. And they did it. But the people trying to break that down is the people saying, oh, they were already secretly working together. This is just a movie. This is just a show. He brought him here to do this or whatever. This is just a show. that takes away from what these brave soldiers, the Delta Force, have done. It
Right.
makes what their heroic thing worth nothing, because this is not really what happened. This is all fake. They just walked in and say, "Ready, Maduro, with your
Right.
deal with Trump.
Also
Here, let me walk you through it."
There's also something far more sinister afoot with the people that say that everybody's working together. It's all a big movie. The sinister part is they are creating for their followers an alternative reality, a reality that's not real. And they want you to live in this alternate reality of fakeness so that they can continue to tell you all sorts of stories and whatnot of what's going on, but none of it is actually real. That's what's sinister about it. And that's what you'll never get from Gene and I.
Right.
We're going to tell you the real deal regardless of how you like it. This is it.
Thank you so much for joining us once again. Don't forget, this show is weekly, and we'll see you next week with this show. But don't forget, we also have American Pulse Podcast live Monday through Friday at 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So find us on YouTube. All right, Dave Blaze, thank you. And everyone else, thank you very much. Thanks for checking us out. Don't forget to go to georgemagazine.com and sign up for the Dispatch. It's free. Get the emails and the news stories. And check us out Monday through Friday, 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. You can check us out on Facebook and YouTube. We'll see you then.